The consequences of opposing a child God has chosen are profound, because God always intervenes. Some people may appear ordinary on the outside, but there is a depth to their lives that trouble cannot shake and darkness cannot touch. These are the ones God has placed a calling on. They are not perfect, nor are they immune to misunderstanding, mistreatment, or pain. Yet one truth remains unchanging. God never stays distant. He steps in. Those chosen by God often carry themselves with quiet humility. They don't fight for recognition, argue for position, or rush to defend themselves. Their calm demeanor isn't weakness. It's the confidence of someone who knows who walks beside them. And even in silence, heaven sees everything that happens to them. A chosen child of God is not exempt from suffering, but they are never left to face it alone. Consider this. If someone harms your own child, you don't hesitate to step in. Love compels you to protect what belongs to you. God operates the same way when someone intentionally harms or belittles a person he has called. They're not merely touching a human being. They're touching God's purpose. Because of that, there are spiritual consequences. When someone deliberately tries to harm a child of God, he protects them, not to exact revenge, but because he is faithful to what he has placed within them. Ask yourself honestly, have you ever been treated unfairly, only to realize later that God quietly stood up for you? If so, you already understand this truth. Part 1. The battle belongs to the Lord. A subtle shift occurs in the spiritual realm the moment someone opposes a child of God. On the surface, it may look like just another conflict, another misunderstanding, or another act of injustice. But spiritually, something far greater is at work. The weight of the situation no longer rests solely on your shoulders. God begins to handle it as his own battle. Scripture shows this pattern clearly. When Pharaoh oppressed Israel, he wasn't just confronting people. He was confronting the God who had called them. When Goliath taunted the army of Israel, he thought he was challenging a group of soldiers. In reality, he was challenging the honor of the living God. The same principle applies to your life. Perhaps someone at work tried to sideline you, damage your reputation, or quietly close doors against you. You could have fought back, defended yourself, or exposed the truth. But something within your spirit whispered, stay calm, stay clean, let God handle this. And even if the outcome didn't change immediately, there came a time when the truth surfaced. Not because you shouted the loudest, but because God brought what was hidden into the light. One of the clearest signs that a battle has become the Lord's is this. He invites you to maintain your peace while he accomplishes what you cannot. When you maintain your peace, God begins to take over. The more you try to control everything, the heavier it feels. But the moment you lay it down before him, heaven starts moving in ways you could never have arranged. Doors open that you didn't knock on. Conversations shift without your involvement, and people who once misunderstood you begin to see clearly. And deep down, you know, I didn't make this happen. God did. That's why the Bible says in Exodus 14, verse 14, the Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still. This isn't a call to do nothing. It's an invitation to trust. God isn't asking you to minimize the hurt or pretend the attack is easy. He's asking you not to fight on the enemy's terms. When your heart stays soft and your spirit steady, you create space for God to step in as your defender. So if it feels like you're under attack right now, remember this. You are not alone. They may seem to be coming against you, but in reality, they are opposing the one who called you. When you choose peace over panic, surrender over striving, a shift happens in the spiritual realm. The battle is recorded under God's name, not yours. And when the battle belongs to him, the outcome is never in doubt. Part 2, what was meant to harm you becomes God's protection. There is a quiet mercy at work in the lives of God's children, one that often goes unnoticed until we reflect and realize how carefully he's been guiding us. Many of us know what it feels like to face jealousy, envy, or opposition. Someone may have spoken against you when you weren't present. Someone may have tried to push you out an opportunity because they felt threatened. At the time, it hurt. It felt unfair. But later, when the dust settled, you see something unexpected. What was meant to harm you became a shield God placed around you. I've heard countless stories like this. A co-worker tried to sabotage a project, but it drew the supervisor's attention to the person's diligence and integrity. A friend betrayed trust, but it opened the way to healthier, more life-giving relationships. A closed door that once frustrated you turned out to protect you from a path that would have drained your joy. God has a way of turning harm into a boundary of blessing. Sometimes you can almost hear him whisper, "I know you don't understand this now, but trust me, I'm protecting you through what looks like loss." When you see the bigger picture, it becomes clear. God's protection was never loud or dramatic. It was steady, quiet, and intentional. You were being redirected, not rejected, refined, not ruined. Even what seemed like setbacks were part of a larger covering over your life. This is why Isaiah 54 verse 17 says, "No weapon formed against you shall prosper." Notice it doesn't say weapons won't exist. It says they won't succeed. People may form schemes, spread rumors, or plot against you, but God has the final word over what reaches you. Their intentions may strike, but they cannot take root. They may bruise, but they cannot break you. Because the moment they are sent, God begins rewriting their purpose. Often, the most remarkable part is this. What was meant to wound you becomes a doorway to something greater. A job lost becomes a role that fits your gifts. A relationship ended becomes a space where your identity is rebuilt. A plan that failed becomes an invitation to step into God's timing rather than your own. So let me ask, have you ever gone through something that felt like a setback, only to realize later it was actually God's protection? Hold that memory close. It's a reminder that God wastes nothing, not even the harmful intentions of others. He transforms attacks into shields, obstacles into testimonies, and disappointments into detours that guide you closer to his purpose. If you're walking through something confusing or unfair right now, take heart. You may not see it yet, but God is already at work behind the scenes, turning every harmful intention into a protective covering over your life. Nothing formed against you has the power to override what God has spoken over you. Part 3. Peace abandons those who choose wrongdoing. There is a kind of peace only God can give. When his hand rests on a person, that peace becomes part of their very presence. You've likely seen it before. Someone who faces pressure without breaking. Someone who chooses kindness even when misunderstood. Someone who stays steady when others expect them to crumble. That calm is not personality. It is the nearness of God. When someone attempts to harm a person shielded by that peace, something subtle yet undeniable happens. I've met people who try to justify hurting someone they envied or misunderstood. At first, they acted confident, almost proud. But over time, their peace began to slip away. Nights grew restless. Conversations became defensive. Smiles felt forced. Their spirit sensed imbalance. This isn't punishment. It's the natural result of violating what God is guarding. Isaiah 57 verse 21 says, "There is no peace for the wicked." This is not a threat. It's a description. Choosing bitterness, deception, or manipulation removes a person from the place where peace can dwell. And when harm is aimed at someone under God's protection, that loss becomes even more evident. Externally, they may appear successful, but inwardly, turmoil grows. Their confidence falters and peace slips away. Meanwhile, the one who is wronged experiences something very different. They may feel the sting of injustice, but they sense God's calm resting on their soul. Over time, that steady assurance becomes a testimony, not loud or boastful, but quiet reminder that God is their anchor. If you've been wronged and still feel steady inside, give thanks. That peace is God's gift. And if the one who hurt you seems unsettled, don't rejoice over it. Pray for them. Losing peace is one of the hardest struggles, and it reminds us that God sees all and cares deeply about every heart involved. Part 4. Their plans crumble in God's timing. One of the gentlest truths in faith is this. God does not need to expose every harmful intention immediately. He does not rush, panic, or intervene visibly at once. Instead, he He lets choices reveal the true nature of people's hearts. He allows time to show what is built on truth and what is built on insecurity, selfishness, or cruelty. When someone crafts a plan against a child of God, it may appear strong for a moment, but it cannot endure. Anything rooted in injustice or manipulation eventually collapses under its own weight. Many of us have experienced seasons when someone tried to edge us out, undermine our work, or block a door God had already opened. In the moment, it might have seemed like they had all the advantage. Influence, confidence, timing, it was all in their favor. But gradually, almost imperceptibly, the tide began to turn. Small inconsistencies appeared. Conversations became tense. Choices no longer aligned. And before long, the plan they relied on so heavily started to unravel. I once spoke with someone who'd been sidelined by a co-worker who felt threatened. It hurt. It felt unjust. But a few months later, that same co-worker made choices that exposed their true motives. Leadership recognized the truth. The foundation built on manipulation could not endure, and the person who had been pushed aside was invited back. This time a larger role and a clearer understanding of their calling. Nothing dramatic happened. It was simply the truth rising at the right moment. Psalm 33 verse 10 reminds us that the Lord frustrates the plans of the nations. God gently redirects intentions that conflict with his heart. He is not cruel, nor does he rejoice in anyone's failure. He is committed to justice, truth, and the well-being of those walking with him. Any scheme rooted in fear or deceit simply cannot endure under his light. Sometimes, the collapse comes through circumstances, doors closing, opportunities disappearing, alliances falling apart. Other times, it comes through conviction. A person realizes their heart isn't at peace, and they can no longer push forward with something they know is wrong. God doesn't need to shame anyone. He simply allows reality to unfold at his timing. And here's the comfort. While their plans fall apart, God's plans for you are quietly taking shape. What frustrated you in the moment may be exactly what God used to reroute you. What seemed like a setback is part of the story that strengthens you. What felt like rejection becomes the space needed for God to lift you. If you've ever watched someone's plan against you fail, without your involvement, you know this feeling. There is no gloating, no revenge, only a quiet awareness that God was protecting you long before you understood. It brings humility and a gentle reminder that he sees all actions, both good and harmful, and leads us back to what is right. Part 5. God transforms wounds into strength. Life has a way of turning our deepest hurts into the places where God builds something new. Not all at once, not loudly, but slowly, faithfully, and with care. The betrayals, the disappointments, the cutting words, God gathers them all. In ways only he can orchestrate, he reshapes those experiences into strength we never knew we could have. I've met people who once thought a painful season would break them, only to discover that it became the place where they learned compassion, courage, and clarity about who they truly were. Pain did not have the final word. Grace did. Weakness became the channel God used to bless others. It wasn't enjoyment of the wound. It was God's refusal to waste it. Maybe you've experienced something similar, a friendship that ended, a promise broken, a season of feeling undervalued. At the time, it felt like loss. Later, you realize you've grown more discerning, more grounded, and more aware of your true worth. You listen more closely to God's voice. You carried yourself differently, not hardened, but wiser, steadier, more anchored in your identity. Romans 8 verse 28 says, God works all things together for good for those who love him. That doesn't mean everything we face is good, but it means God can weave even the painful threads into something meaningful. The very experiences that seem designed to break us often become the platforms where our purpose grows. I've seen people transformed by betrayal, loss, or heartbreak. Those experiences taught them how to protect others, discover new callings, and grow unshakable faith. God didn't create the wound, but he transformed it. One image I love is this. The arrow that wounds you today can become the bow that launches you tomorrow. God doesn't just help you survive, he helps you rise. He shapes your character through struggle, strengthens your voice through disappointment, and deepens your faith through unseen tears. And the most beautiful part? When God transforms your wounds into strength, your story becomes hope for someone else. You speak from understanding, comfort with sincerity, and walk with humility born of God's care. The wound becomes a well from which others can draw grace. So if you're walking through something heavy right now, don't be in a hurry to escape it. Don't assume this moment defines your ending. God is already moving in the unseen parts of your life, taking what feels weak and shaping it into strength. The pain you're feeling will not determine your identity. The breaking you experience will not limit your future. And what you lost will never cancel what God is preparing within you. One day you'll look back and say, that season was painful, but it helped form the person I've become. Not because the struggle overcame you, but because God carried you through it. Every new step will hold a quiet testimony. You turn your wounds into courage and your story into beauty. Conclusion: when we look back on the chapters that shaped us, we finally recognize a pattern we couldn't see at the start. God was present in every moment. He saw the unfairness. He heard the whispered prayers. He noticed the nights when you tried to stay strong, even while your heart felt worn out. And through all of it, He kept leading you, shielding you, and strengthening you in ways that only become clear with time. Being chosen by God was never about being the most talented or the most noticed. It was about being held by Him. Every battle you faced, every intention meant to harm you, every misunderstanding or judgment, none of it slipped through His hands. He made your battle His own. He turned what was meant to hurt you into protection. He preserved your peace even when others lost theirs. He let plans built on insecurity crumble, while He built something unshakable inside you. And He molded your wounds into a strength you now carry quietly and confidently. So if today feels heavy or uncertain, take courage. You are not facing it alone. God is nearer than you realize, working in ways you cannot yet see. He has been faithful before. He will be faithful again. Nothing done against you has the power to erase what He has spoken over your life. As you step into the next chapter, let this truth rest gently in your heart. The story God is writing for you cannot be stopped by anyone. His hand is steady. His plan is firm. His protection is stronger than anything that has ever risen against you. If you feel led to share, I would love to know, which area of your life do you need God's peace or direction in today?